Hey guys, Jay Siemens here. Welcome back to another video. Today we got Humminbird Mega Live and we're doing first impressions on the ice. Alright, this might be the most expensive video I've ever made. I bought this Humminbird kit specifically to do a review video for you guys. A couple videos I want to do with it. First off, today we're doing the first impressions. I've had the chance to fish with this for 2 days. This is my third day using this. So I'm going to tell you, what I like, what I don't like, what I think it's going to be good for. And then the next video I'm going to do with it is side by side with Lowrance, Garmin, and now Humminbird. But basically, we got the Helix 8. It needs to be Gen 4 with side imaging or Mega, or it can be Gen 3, but I think it has to be size 9 and up. I'll leave those specs below, but the Mega Live doesn't work with all the Helix units, as well works with the Apex units. This is the Summit Fishing Equipment Bundle. They shipped this up to me specifically to make this video. They're a partner on this channel and they make kits for the 3 brands, all for live imaging. Amazing kits with, everything thought out for the angler in mind. I got to give a shout out to Josh from the Fishing Hole. His YouTube channel is Mountain Fishing Adventures. He helped track down a unit for me and a transducer. It was on the way, but I actually borrowed this one from my buddy Matt Hobson at Icebound Excursions. I've done some snowboard videos with him, so it took a lot to get this video happening, but here we are, we're on the ice, and we were ice fishing with Mega Live. Guys, first thing I noticed when I took this out of the box is this transducer is absolutely massive. I would say it's probably 30% bigger than the other ones. I'll do a side-by-side yet to show it in the next video. That being said, I think there's a reason for that, and maybe this is just my speculation, but with the Lowrance and with the Garmin, you have that black box that does a lot of the computing. I kind of have a feeling that some of the computing might be done in here. That's the reason for the bigger transducer. So it's kind of a trade-off. The Summit Fishing Equipment pole is a little more streamlined, so when you switch it to perspective mode, it just switches flat like this. With the Humminbird mount, it actually offsets it so it's sticking out that far from the pole, if that makes sense. Right now it's centered on the pole, but with the Humminbird one, it'll actually just flip up and out, which could be an issue in an 8-inch hole. If I try putting this down in an 8-inch hole, it pretty much fills the hole. If it was a couple more inches further out, I'm not sure if it would work. So that's something that Summit's done a good job of planning for that. But that's something I would take into account when you're deciding, what kit to buy. But something else to notice, this has dual cords. So versus just one cord, one solid cord, this is actually 2 split cords. I'm assuming there's some reasoning for interference and that's why they split them, because there's a specific power cord and then your main transducer signal cord. So that's another difference from the other two. I think ice would probably build up faster with these 2 surfaces and the fact that, slush can kind of build up between it. I'm not a massive fan of the cord right now, but probably something I'd get used to. Anyways, I've only used it on down view so far, just because we've been fishing in pretty shallow water and I've just been trying to get some strike footage. So guys, a lot of the strike footage that I'll show from the last 2 days were actually done with GoPro. So the problem with GoPro is you just don't get the sharpest image. So when you're seeing it, it might be a little bit overexposed. It might be, not completely in focus. That's not the graph. This is what the graph normally looks like. Now I'm filming with my big camera. We're gonna hopefully get some strike footage today with a good camera as well. We'll include some sequences of what fish interaction and strikes look like just with the GoPro, so you get a vibe of things. Yeah, the first thing that I would look at when I'm jigging is, just general clarity and any sort of delay. Doesn't seem like there's much of a delay. There's always a touch of a delay with any live imaging, but this one I'm not seeing too much yet. Something I did notice that was nice was there's narrow, full, and wide mode. As you can see, those numbers on the top are telling you how far out you're zooming, so it just gives you a little more reach that way. Let's see what else we got. Contrast, dynamic contrast. I think it just tightens things up a bit. Then you got the color palettes. Number 1. Number 2 is what it was defaulted to. Number 3 is what I set. It's just got more of a blacker background. Number 4, 5, 6. Ooh, that's kind of trippy. I don't mind that actually. It has pretty good contrast. It'd probably film pretty good. And it kind of has the different colors based on the signal return. That's kind of similar to the color palette I use on my live scope. Number 9. Number 10 looks kind of trippy too. 11. Wow. A lot of options. All right, we're gonna go back to 2. Persistence. I don't know what persistence does. It kind of adds some purple to the edge there. It's kind of cool. I'm not sure exactly. Oh, that's cool. Persistence kind of shows history. So look at this. When I streak up or something, you can actually see that purple line behind. That's kind of cool. So you can see if a fish swam by and you weren't looking. Interesting. Range grid, So you can turn your grid on there, 2-foot grids. The nice thing about the grids is you can actually just, like, you can tell how big a fish is, right? So if a fish spans across one of those grids, that's 2 feet. So it's a 24-inch walleye, 24-inch trout, whatever that might be. Something I did notice when flipping through the menus is this does have a mega live recording option. So I'm gonna try recording it right now to an SD card. I did play with this a little bit yesterday. I did notice that it shut off after maybe 20 minutes. So I'm not sure if that was the card or just a limit they have on the recording here, but we're gonna give it a shot. But that is something that's huge for me if this does work out, is screen recording. The Garmin that I have, the EchoMap Ultra, it doesn't have screen recording with the app. I normally have to use a GoPro. The Lowrance that I use, the Active Target, that one did have an app that you can use for screen recording. The upper end Garmin's, they do have screen recording through the Active Captain app. The format, I played with this a little bit yesterday, and whatever format it came in did not look like one that would be easy to play on my computer. I did notice that it is possible to play them back on the graph, so I'll let you guys know how that works. In the past, I have noticed when you do this internal recording, it bogs down your unit. So far, I'm not noticing any lag between the jigging, between, you know, menus and stuff when it is recording. So that is a bonus. Whoa, that did some crazy things when the recording stopped. So that only lasted 4 minutes, 5 minutes, and it kicked me out of the recording. Length limit reached. So that is kind of disappointing. I'll do some more research to see if that's normal, but that was probably 4 minutes of screen recording. Let's see what the playback looks like. Okay, the playback looks good. Like, that's cool that you can play it back on your graph, but I don't know how often I'm gonna do that. I wanna play it back on my computer, so we're gonna stop that recording. Okay, well, it has internal recording. Seems to last about 4 minutes. Yeah, we'll look into that a little bit more afterwards. But anyways, let's insert some footage from the last 2 days showing you guys some fish strikes and seeing what the fish interactions look like. Keep in mind, these films with GoPro, you know, might not be quite as sharp. Hopefully we get some strikes yet today with this camera and you can see, you know, an exact representation of what it'll look like. Well, there's a nice big mark. Big mark. Stop walking. Stop walking. Oh, that was a big fish. Oh, he's still there. He's still there. Yeah, that's a big fish. Come on, he's turning back. I'm serious, that's the biggest mark I've seen. Here we go. Oh! Here we go, here we go. Big mark. Got him, got him.
Oh my goodness, look at the size of this thing. Whoa.
Did he bite it?
Yeah, tried to. Missed him.
Well, that's not tiny. Dude, that's a big fish. Yep. Oh, yes. He's on. Ooh, was that a big one?
Yeah.
That's a cold. Oh, come on. Oh, there's a big one all over Alex. You got it. You got it. He's on. Oh, here we go, here we go, here we go. That's a good one. All right, guys, so this is the kit. As I mentioned, I'm using Summit fishing equipment. This is the ice fishing telescopic pole. You can obviously put it down deeper when there's thicker ice. What I like about it is this handle on the top. You can point it in the direction when you're on forward mode that your transducer is pointing. So that's a really good way to pinpoint targets. So I'll drill a hole, you know, find the fish, and wherever that transducer is pointed, that can be pointed exactly to fish. And then we've got the actual soft case with the kit inside. And this is the smaller size. I have a bigger size for my live scope for a 10-inch screen. I do like the 8-inch screen. This is, you know, just in general, a smaller bundle. It's a little easier to transport around. I think going a little bit of a smaller size is nice for ice fishing. Open water, the bigger screen is nice, but I think an 8 or 9-inch screen is gonna do what you need. I didn't do the great job rigging this thing up with all the cords because I was kind of in a rush in the hotel room. One thing I do wanna note is we've got that 24 amp hour Dakota lithium on the inside, which hopefully runs this thing for like maybe 12 hours. And then there's 2 switches here. There's one for the glow ring, which turns on that little sucker there, which you can glow your jigs. The other one powers the graph and the transducer. And then as well, there's a cigarette lighter right there with 2 USBs, because in the past, I've added my own little inverter with USB ports, but now that it comes rigged with that is pretty phenomenal. So, oh, and here's one other thing to note. When you pull the transducer out of the water, it'll actually turn it off. It says Mega Live disabled out of water. It probably saves battery life, but it's also, I've noticed a couple times when I've switched holes and hopped into a new hole, that it doesn't recognize that the transducer's in the water again. I'm not sure if that's more specific to ice fishing, but there's definitely been a couple times where I put the transducer back in and it doesn't initiate right away, and that's, you know, kind of frustrating when you're hole hopping and trying to see what's happening as quick as possible. So maybe that's something you can get, you know, switched for the firmware update. I know that's often the case, is that these units, when they first get released, there's still some glitchy stuff, and then as it goes. But yeah, right now it is working as it should. Guys, if you want to see more gear type first impression review videos, leave a comment, because I don't know, these are a little different than I normally do, but I know as an angler, I find this very valuable to get an unbiased opinion on all this new technology. But yeah, I know this Humminbird Mega Live there's been a lot of talk about it. That was one of the top comments I saw when I posted a selfie from First Ice. They said, tell me about Mega Live, tell me about Mega Live. So I'm like, I need to make this video as quick as possible for you guys to hopefully help you make a purchasing decision. But the end of it, I will give my first impressions, my overall thoughts, and then I'm looking forward to do that side by side comparison. All right, guys, we've been moving around, we've been making a racket. Now we're gonna kind of be stealthy and try to catch one of these stock trout we're fishing for in northern Manitoba. Just for a reference, this is what we're fishing with, a little Frostbite Dragon Slayer on a small lead jig. One of the coolest things about live imaging, I don't care which one you have, it is just going to teach you about fish. It's going to teach you, you know, how they move, if they move by themselves or in groups. It shows you how spooky they are, how they react to your lure. So I mean, yes, it's great to see the fish eat, but it's all that other stuff that I really find the most value in. Like even Alex and I have noticed that these fish are so spooky. We walk around and they'll be coming up to our bait and tear away, or even some of the baits we're dropping down when we see them swimming by, and they get scared by the bait. So it's quite the learning tool. Basically any of these units, you're looking at around $2,000 for the unit and then $2,000 for the transducer. I'm sure the price will drop as there's more competition, as all technology does. A couple nice marks here. Big school, look at that. Have none of them bit yet. Look at all the fish. There we go. We got him. That was just cool to see that pot of fish cruise in there. All right, guys, there's a monster, but it was definitely cool to see all those fish interacting on the live imaging. Just put it down the hole backwards. There he goes. So as you can see, a big fish is going to show up gigantic in the shallow water. You can see all those small ones showed up there. That was a pod. That was probably 6 or 7 little guys. Yep. That fish was just on it all of a sudden. That was super cool. Cute little brook trout. There you go. Baby trout. Hi, little guy. That's a big mark. Come on. Oh, what's going on? There's a bunch of big ones. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Please. Please. One of them. Oh. Ooh, there's a nice mark. Yep. All right, guys, light is fading. That is the end of day 3 using Mega Live. First impressions, it's great. I mean, all 3 that I've used, Active Target, Garmin Live Scope, now Humminbird, Mega Live. This live imaging technology is just, it's mind-blowing. You'll learn so much about the fish. You see how fish react to your noise on the ice. You see how fish come in pods maybe, or solo. I'm gonna be using this a lot more. I didn't really, you know, dive too deep into it. There'll be future videos about that. I just did down imaging in like 7 feet of water for stock trout. So there's a lot more applications in that. You know, if I need to give a little more of an answer based off of the first 3 days, I think it's totally a contender. It's right up there with the other ones. I don't think it's the clearest image. I think live scope still is the clearest image, but if you fish somewhere where Humminbird has the best mapping, well, then I think you should just go with Humminbird across the board. If you go somewhere with Garmin with the best mapping, go Garmin across the board. You know, shout out Summit Fishing Equipment, Josh and the Fishing Hole for hooking me up with the graph, and my buddy Matt for hooking me up with the deucer before mine shows up. That's all I got, guys. Stay safe on the ice this winter, and I'll see you very soon.